Guys, hello. Happy April 19th. I'm recording this a day before next week's forecast. And so here we go. Lots going on. If you experienced last week as something new and fairly intense, this week's going to be even more. There's a lot going on this week, a lot. So let's start with Sunday, the 20th. There's 4 planetary aspects happening on just that one day alone. We had the sun semi-sextile Neptune. And if you remember from last week, semi-sextiles are they're minor aspects, but they bring about something. It's either a gift or a problem that needs to be addressed. Something comes up that's just coming onto our radar and we're realizing it needs to be addressed. What is this about? Well, Neptune is at 0 degrees of Aries. Neptune just on the 30th of March entered into Aries, one of the super big generational shifts that we're just getting a sense of what that even means. Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, is giving us the ability to see things clearly and to be motivated to do something about what we see in the world. And having the sun in Taurus is an extra dose of I am energy. The sun is the 3D world. It's our physical self. In Taurus is inviting us to stay grounded, to stay present, and to stay centered. We also have on the 20th, Venus in the sign of Pisces, squaring Uranus. Sextiles are easy flows of energy, and this is an easy flow of energy about balance, justice, harmony, in wisdom of giving to others for peace. That's what Venus in Pisces is encouraging us to do right now. Also, Uranus is there reminding us to have realizations, lightning bolt type realizations, that we are the change that we seek. We also have Mercury sextiling Pluto. So this is another flowing energy. This time, this flow is about our communication. It's about our I am oriented communication. And it's reminding us that our I am oriented communication should be about transformation. The theme of death and rebirth is very Plutonian. And Aquarius reminds us that this is a big picture type of download. So the visions and ideas that we're going to come through on this time, at this day, around this time, are for the collective and for the future. It should be noted that these aspects are precise on these days that I'm talking about, but all of this can kind of form a color wash on a painting that gives us the overarching theme of the week. That's why I said at the outset, if last week was a big roller coaster ride, however crazy and exciting it was, we just got upgraded to the big kids roller coaster ride. So the final aspect on the 20th of April is we have the sun squaring Mars. Mars is in Leo. Mars is at 1 degree of Leo. If you remember, I mentioned last week, Mars just moved into Leo. Mars has been hanging out for an exorbitant amount of time in its downfall in the sign of Cancer. And that was because of the really slow retrogradation. But now we have Mars in Leo. So squaring action is some friction. So if we think about what the reason why I love astrology, let me just get it. This is a weather forecast. This isn't to freak anybody out. This is to have us get the sense that there are energies that are present, that are being beamed down by the cosmos, that are almost like informing us as to what's up in the world. So friction here is about our I am 3D self, sun in Taurus. Again, stay grounded, stay centered, stay present. Mars is, well, I'm going to go deeper into the Mars and Leo aspect towards the end of the week. But for now, the friction is about the courage to be true, the courage to come from our heart, the courage to have our I am self be authentic and to really feel into what is true for you. And that can be a very personal thing. Fast forward to Monday, we have one aspect. We have a conjunction. We have Saturn conjunct the North Node. Both are in the sign of Pisces. This this kind of continues the friction. This is kind of like the good, bad roommate situation. If you have a good roommate, everything works out. If the roommates don't really get along, it's not a really fun experience to live together, right? So this is showing us that, you know, where we need to go, we have to look at where we need to go versus looking where we've been. And we need to start to talk things through, reflect on where we've been, reflect on how we got here. Pisces, and remember, is the last sign of the zodiac, inviting us to cull the wisdom of the past. North Node is where we're headed. Saturn conjunct is saying it's going to feel a little restrictive, and the way out is to do the introspection. The way out is to be the self-reflection. Wednesday's the next day we have an aspect of a square on Wednesday. We have Sun squaring Pluto. So Pluto is all about death and rebirth and digging things up that have been hidden. And to have the Sun squaring Pluto, that's just going to say it's going to come very to the forefront in our lives and very to the forefront in our 3D world. Thursday, we have two aspects. We have Venus doing two conjunctions. Conjunctions just mean those planets are at the same spot in the sky. So this is, again, the good, bad roommate situation. But here we have Venus conjunct the North Node, as well as Venus conjunct Saturn. And so Venus is reminding and inviting us to hold fast to the justice and the balance that is for the collective, because we are the collective. So this isn't just willy-nilly giving everything away just because. The karma in that, the karma in being, the idea of reciprocity, that we're not doing it, we're being invited to lift ourselves up and out of this ego-centered, self-centered, self-preservation, to have the realizations and the 3D downloads that we are the collective, and what we put into the collective and what we contribute and protect and build up in the collective is by default going to be something that we receive, but we're being invited to just leapfrog up and over this illusion that there's this separation. Also, the conjunction with Saturn is saying expect some challenges in that area and be willing to work towards longer term, larger goals. Then we go to Friday. Friday, we have Mercury quintiling Jupiter. So a quintile is interesting. A quintile is a minor, but it's a positive aspect. And the quintiles kind of give a natural talent or a creative edge, like that kind of kismet thing that happens. And so we have the quintile involving our personal communication. So it's almost going to be like those moments, those kismet moments. Our communication is talented when what? When, and we can expand our communication when what? When we understand Gemini. Gemini is the sign of the twins. Gemini is this energy, even though it can be in its shadow very polarized. Gemini is the person at the party that wants to go around and talk to every single person. And Gemini wants genuinely to understand what every single person thinks or feels. And there's no black or white, right or wrong. So again, this is this multifaceted energy that's coming through in our communication. And it's also going to invite us to bring some sort of balance around who we are and how we feel about who we are. On that same day, we have the sun in a semi-square to Jupiter. Semi-square is also a minor aspect, but minor aspects, these are both minor aspects, but they're cool because it's kind of more low key. It's not as in your face, but it's also really a good time to work with this energy. So a square is known as a challenge. A square is known as a breakdown to breakthrough type of energy. And so this is kind of letting us know that our 3D selves, the 3D world, there might be some challenges in our reality. And the way through the challenges, the way to expand through the challenges is with this Gemini energy that I was just talking about. This, imagine being the person in the gathering that's genuinely interested in talking to everybody and getting to know, walking in everybody's shoes. And then we have Dun, dun, dun. The biggest thing that's happening this week is happening on Saturday, and that is Mars opposing Pluto. And this is a big deal because this is the third time in this last swath of time that Mars has opposed Pluto. And when planets do things in threes, it's because of retrogradation. But there's something that happens that's, the first time the opposition happens or the aspect happens, we get like the door swings open, we get a sense of what the energy is. We get a sense to start to work with the energy. The second time it happens, we're in it. We're deeply in the energy. But the third time it happens, there's this karmic thing that is, how well have we been working with these energies? And this is where, if we've been truly aware and genuinely doing the best that we can with our time and with our vibration, then we're going to have an easier go of the third round, or there can be a release. And if we're not, that's where the universe kind of gives you a little nudge or a little push that you might not have wanted to do. And so if we think about in general what Mars and Pluto mean, I actually want to read something to you guys here. This is from Cafe Astrology, and it talks about how Mars when Mars is in opposition to Pluto, it's a powerful aspect that's suggesting that if this aspect comes up, that we'll often see extremes of behavior and there will be some kind of a crisis. But Mars opposite Pluto is also a wonderful aspect to have around a time of crisis, because there's going to be this energy of somebody quickly taking the lead or being undaunted when it comes to defending. So I'll just say this. I want to quote, Mars to have around is wonderful to have around. Mars opposite Pluto, wonderful to have around in times of crisis. You can quickly take the lead and you can be undaunted when it comes to defending or helping those you love. Your desires are deep, intense, and sometimes troubling. So I wanted to just kind of, that's the general backdrop. Let me get my notes of Mars opposite Pluto. But then we have Mars in Mars is the I am in its uplifted energy, and Pluto is the planet of karma. So the I am planet is opposing the planet of karma. So we're going to be invited to see all these ways that the I am 3D world, how we've been doing genuinely with how we've been managing our energy. And Mars in Leo, there's two ways this can go. The uplifted version of Mars in Leo is regal, heart-centered, powerful, decisive, strategic action. The shadow of this is ego and manipulation and being disingenuous and manipulation of power. But Pluto is the planet of karma. So the opposition, and Pluto in Aquarius, is about decentralized power. Talked about, if you go back to past podcasts, Pluto being at the anaretic degree of Capricorn at the end of last year was all about how the power structures, the top-down power structures, if they're crumbling, they're shaking. And we're moving into this time of circular power. But we're standing at the threshold here. And so I want to offer that this is a really cool energy. But if you can see that there's also this potential for intensity, this potential for something challenging, something troubling, but also, when there's chaos, and one of the things that I've said in my podcast that is just working out to be true, in 2024 and 2025 into 2026, all the outer planets are changing signs, including Jupiter and Saturn. Humanity has not experienced this. We don't have a collective memory of this. It means it's all shifting. And we are in the middle of this shift. We are at this space where there's, we're going across the river, taking one foot off one rock, putting the other foot on the other rock. And all we know is what we've left. All we know is that we've been lifted our foot up, and we're just really needing to trust that that stone will appear. So there's that fortunate aspect of Mars opposite Pluto, that even though there's intense and troubling and challenging times, there's this decisiveness, there's this clarity, there's this something springing into action, and knowing precisely what to do. So that's it. I hope that you enjoy the week. I hope that this forecast helps you feel the truth of who you are and why you're here. And I love it. I think that we are living in just such amazingly transformational times. If you are not on my email list or you don't follow my work, I am doing weekly Sunday meditation gatherings. I'm also going to start a Tuesday noon Pacific mindfulness meditation, different meditation themes, just to support us in staying centered and staying grounded. So I'll put a link to where you can find my email list, and you can find my Substack. The Tuesday meditations are on my Substack. And I'm probably going to be moving all my stuff to Substack eventually, but we'll do Zoom and Substack for now. And yeah, have a beautiful weekend, bright blessings, and so much love.